Today we're joined by Luiz Viana of TMG Capital. Welcome to PrivCap Today. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very honored to have the chance to discuss ideas with you.
As a veteran investor and business builder in Brazil, how do you feel right now about the opportunity to build value going forward? Do you feel as bullish now as you have in the past, or is there some uncertainty?
I tried to convey until now, I believe this is a window for deployment. In this statement, it is implicit the fact that I am very comfortable and confident that we are going to be able to deliver important uncorrelated returns to investors, coexisting with these reforms, adjustments, and maturity of the political system. I believe that in 2 or 3 years, maybe 4, valuations will again be high, and then the job for financial sponsor to deploy capital is going to be a little tougher. So I believe, therefore, that yes, this is a very important moment, and you need to be selective as in any market. But I think that the opportunity is not, as I said before, it's not just valuation, but it's also the type of deal flow. Many sectors in Brazil that have not yet considered a private equity partner are now in favor of considering that alternative. And that is a summary of what we believe. We think Brazil, because of the size of the economy, because of the population, because of the rising middle class, in spite of the fact that in the short term, the rate of growth of the middle class is slowing down for the economic adjustment reasons, because of the natural resources that we command, because of the fact that the country has continental proportions, and because we are a young economy and a young democracy. I think over this next 10 years, there is enough fundamentals to believe that it is going to be a market that we can deliver rates that are above the liquid assets with an illiquidity premium.
What sectors are you seeing openness on the part of entrepreneurs where previously there wasn't as much deal flow?
Right. The entrepreneur world have addressed until now most of the sectors that you would expect in a globalized world. The technology-oriented deals have been open in the good times and in the bad times. The transformational aspects that these deals represent attract entrepreneurs, and Brazil has a very high rate of entrepreneurship. But having said that, to answer your point, what are the areas that have not yet opened, and now we are seeing that the doors are more favorable? Number one, the pharma and the biotechnology area. And this has to do with the fact that Brazil has missed the pharma cycle. The pharma cycle that happened 25 years ago with the advent of fine chemistry. Right now, the cycle is the cycle of biosimilars, the industry that uses to come up with drugs in the general criteria that are actually produced by living entities, be it bacteria or yeasts and so on. Brazil needs to make a step forward to avoid missing that cycle as well, and be able to have important developments like oncology drugs, like interferon, like human growth hormone, like insulin, that are so important for the healthcare of the country as a whole. This is being open for financial sponsors right now. We are one of them. We invested, for instance, to leave the abstract thinking to go to a concrete level. I would say we have consolidated in Brazil the dental care business. And how does this addresses a scar? It addresses the fact that when we entered the dental care space in Brazil, there were about 800 small companies going after about 2 million lives. In the same period in this country, in the US, you had about 20 companies addressing a market of 130 million individuals. So if this is not hyperfragmentation, I don't know what the concept of fragmentation is. So then we entered the market, we bought a platform company, then we bought 6 companies under that, and after, I think, 8 years approximately, we IPO'd the company with a multiple for investors of 40 times and 22 times in dollar terms. Why? Well, we have worked hard, but also because we addressed one of these imperfections, the hyperfragmentation. And because by addressing the hyperfragmentation, we unlocked the pent-up demand that was already there. And that we took advantage both of the management of high growth environments together with this issue of understanding the imperfections created by past macroeconomic events. Mm-hmm. The other sector that I see a recent opening is the decision analytics, the ability to process a huge amount of data and deliver to companies the information necessary to improve their operations. I think this is happening in a tremendously fast pace in the US and in certain economies like Germany or France, but not in Latin America. And now we are starting to try to catch up. And by catching up, I mean not just realizing that we were a little late in the game, but also with the technology and talent that is domestic right now. So, you know, Brazil, as I think it's the common knowledge, and that is a country that has very heterogeneous geographical areas, pools of talent, and pools of excellence as well. And therefore, I think a very interesting place to be an investor in the good days and in the bad days.